Our first speaker today is Mr. Amit Bhatia, an award-winning social entrepreneur and former CEO of the Global Steering Group for Impact Investment. He is a tireless crusader for all things impactful, including wisdom. We first met in Jordan some more than 10 years ago at a summit organized by the Aspen Institute. Somewhere between the Dead Sea and the mysteries of Petra, we became friends and comrades in the development movement. If the shoe were on the other foot and it was Amit introducing me, I promise you he would serve up some exquisite poetry for your consumption. I, by contrast, am inspired by a morsel of contemporary pop culture, namely the recently released #1 hit film on Netflix called Namaste Wahala, a Bollywood-Nollywood collaboration that some consider to be the first of its kind. The Sanskrit word namaste is a greeting that literally means I bow down to the God in you. Wahala is a Hausa word popular in West Africa that means big trouble. The unusual juxtaposition of these two words in what is a quintessential love story can perhaps inspire us all. As we start our inquiry into Impact 3.0, let's greet the challenges before us together. With that, I offer you Amit.
My name is Amit Bhatia, and I'm the founder of Aspire Impact and Aspire Circle, a social enterprise and a nonprofit, both born in India but for the global South. It's my pleasure to kickstart the establishment of an impact future project for Africa today. We're at the cusp of impact capitalism around the world, with over 40 trillion of global investments moving to the impact continuum, that is to responsible, sustainable, or impact investments. The movement has already taken deep roots in Africa, as I discovered during my inaugural term as the CEO of the Global Steering Group for Impact Investment, a G7 task force which was spun off into an independent multilateral. During my 3-year term, we brought 32 countries into the movement, of which 3 countries were from the African continent: South Africa, Ghana, and Zambia. My work with Kenya and Nigeria did not conclude during my term, but soon will. My biggest regret, though, was and is that I could not do more for Africa. As an ecosystem builder who also built India's Impact Investors Council and grew inbound impact investments into India from 300 million, in back in 2013-14 to 1.1 billion in 2016-17 in similar conditions as Africa, you can understand how I feel about the missed opportunity. I feel the Impact Future Project is both my redemption and my restitution. Africa is much like India, where we launched the Impact Future Project last year. Africa's population is 1.34 billion. India is 1.38 billion. Africa's nominal GDP is $2.3 trillion. India is 2.8 trillion. The income spread too is similar. The richest countries in Africa, like Seychelles, Mauritius, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, are above $5,000 per capita GDP, as are the richest Indian states of Goa, Sikkim, Delhi. And unfortunately, the poorer African countries like Congo, Burundi, and Liberia are sub $1,000 per capita GDP, as are the Indian states of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Both Africa and India are agriculture dependent. Sub-Saharan Africa has 60% of its workforce, 23% of its GDP in agriculture. India has 50% of its workforce, 20% of its GDP in agriculture. Both regions have a colonial past. The African continent and the Indian subcontinent are both now considered emerging. Therefore, you should not be surprised that after a successful launch here in India, engaging 500 business and investment leaders, the Impact Future Project is now in Africa. The Impact Future Project will be a great example of South-South collaboration, even though it will be African in its DNA. India can bring many learnings from its very vibrant impact investment ecosystem, where we just recently crossed $2.5 billion of investments annually. Over the last decade, across 11 billion of cumulative impact investment, India delivered 1,200 plus deals, 50 plus dedicated impact funds, about 100 exits, 11% dollar denominated IRR, 14% CAGR, reaching 200 million underserved customers and another 300 million through tech-enabled inclusion. There will be things to learn, especially how not to repeat India's mistakes. Our biggest blunder in India was that in early stages of impact investment growth, the microfinance movement ignored consumer protection and any semblance of self governance. A few rogue players were found charging up to 60% interest rates to the poor, making credit card companies look like charities. In 2010, the market collapsed with media and government calling the microfinance sector as profiteers. As politicians rushed in asking poor not to pay back loans, hundreds of millions of dollars were written off. The poor make good customers. But impact investment purpose should not be to exploit this fortune at the bottom of the pyramid, but to think of them as humans whose potential must be unlocked. In India, the central bank stepped in to regulate microfinance, and it took years to forget the ghost of 2010. In 2014-15, however, 10 of these microfinance players were given small finance bank licenses, and the rest of the success story is history. Africa's rising impact markets and actors should now collaborate for consumer protection, for self regulation, for bigger ideas for impact accounting and reporting standards, and to collectively build a better ecosystem with deeply connected players, not just impact enterprises, impact investors, nonprofits, and governments, but also mainstream corporations and commercial investors. That's where the Impact Future Project comes in. And the time is ripe. Impact investment transactions are coming of age in Africa. Just last year, IFC, IFU, and Properco invested 108 million in North African healthcare company Humania. The Rise Fund invested 47.5 million in Series C in the digital payments provider Cellulent. And Ghana headquartered M Pharma with 400 pharmacies across Africa cumulatively raised over $40 million, 17 million just last year. Clearly, Africa's tipping point for impact is near. However, in all our enthusiasm, we should not forget that almost 600 million people in Africa still lack access to electricity. 4 in 10 live without safe drinking water. A fifth of primary age children are out of school. And 237 million people are malnourished. If there ever was a silver bullet, the impact economy is it. Impact financing holds immense potential. The African Development Bank alone has helped to connect 18 million people to electricity, 100 plus million people with access to improved transport, and 60 million people with access to improved water and sanitation. So imagine the future where over the coming decade, accelerated by the pursuit of SDGs and the era of impact capitalism, we grow impact investments in Africa and all investments across the impact continuum 10 folds or more. That's the future worth fighting for, worth organizing for. That's the ambition of the Impact Future Project for Africa. Please do join and support the initiative. Thank you.